Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. We are on the record. Today is Wednesday, the 28th day of June, the year 2023. This is a regular meeting of the Jersey City Municipal Council. We had a scheduled 6 p.m. start. The clock on my cell phone is showing 6:04 p.m. May we have a roll call for the commencement of this meeting? Councilperson Ridley.
Here.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Here.
Councilperson Baggiano is absent. Councilperson Saleh.
Here.
Councilperson Solomon. Not here yet. Councilperson Gilmore. Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera.
Here.
And Council President Waterman.
Here.
We have 7 council members in attendance at 6:04 p.m. Can we kindly rise for a moment of silence, please? Thank you very much. On behalf of Council President Waterman and the members of the Municipal Council, in accordance with New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the posting on the bulletin board of the first floor of City Hall, the annual notice, which is the schedule of meetings and caucuses of the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2023. And filed in the office of the city clerk on Thursday, December 15th, 2022. In addition, at its time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on Friday, June 23rd, 2023 at 4 p.m. to the mayor, municipal council, business administrator, corporation council, and the local newspapers, and posted on the city's website, so I can certify as to our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. Good. Okay. Before we move on, I want to mark Councilperson Solomon present at 6:07 p.m. So we now have 8 council members present at 6:07. Okay. On to our first reading ordinances. Before I read them into the record, I just want to confirm with our business administrator that 3.8 will be withdrawn.
Council, as we discussed at the caucus, we'll bring this back with the related ordinance next council meeting and introduce them together. This is for the regulations around Class 5 cannabis.
Thank you. Okay, council members, I'm going to be reading them into the record and then we'll be taking a vote. So first, item 3.1, City Ordinance 23-065 is an ordinance authorizing the acquisition of Block 11611, Lot 1.02, more commonly known by the street address of 335 Washington Street from 335 Washington Realty LLC. Item 3.2, City Ordinance 23-066 is an ordinance an ordinance amending Chapter 321 trees of the Municipal Code of the City of Jersey City. Item 3.3, City Ordinance 23-067 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332 Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3 Parking, Standing, Stopping, amending Section 332-22 Parking prohibited at all times, and Section 332-24 No parking certain hours for Marin Boulevard. Item 3.4, City Ordinance 23-068 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332 Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2 Traffic Regulations, Section 332-9 Stop Intersections to designate Congress Street and Hancock Avenue as a multi-way stop control. Item 3.5, City Ordinance 23-069 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing, Stopping, amending Section 332-22, Parking Prohibited at all times, and Section 332-24, Parking Prohibited at certain hours at the Waldorf School, 11 First Street, and the Iglesia de Dios, if I'm mispronouncing, I apologize, at 180 Hopkins Avenue. Item 3.6, City Ordinance 23-070 is an ordinance of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City adopting amendments to the City Code, Chapter 345, Land Development Ordinance, Article 3, Historic Preservation Review Procedures, the Venus Pellegari Extravaganza House, 343.5 8th Street. Item 3.7, ordinance number 23-071 is an ordinance amending Chapter A 352 enabling ordinances of the Jersey City Municipal Code for the renaming of Sycamore Road east of McGovern Park from Custer Avenue to Gates Avenue to Stanfield Lane. And as we said before, item 3.8 has been withdrawn. So council members are going to be taking a vote on items 3.1 through 3.7. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye for introduction.
And Council President Waterman. Items 3.1 through 3.7 are introduced 8-0 with Councilperson Bajano absent. On to our second reading ordinances. Item 4.1, City Ordinance 23-057 is an ordinance authorizing the modification of the restrictive covenant at Block 16301, Lot 65, formerly known as Block 1827, Lot T, also known as 784-8 West Side Avenue on the tax maps of Jersey City. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion.
Second.
Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-057 was made by Councilperson Rivera, seconded by Council President Waterman. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-057, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman. Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-057 is approved 8-0 with Councilperson Bajano absent. The final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 23-057, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman. City Ordinance 23-057 is adopted 8-0 with Councilperson Bajano absent. On to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.2, City Ordinance 23-058 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, amending Section 332-9, Stop Intersections, and Article 3, Parking, Standing, and Stopping, amending Sections 332-22, Parking Prohibited at all times, and Section 332-31, Parking Restrictions for Street Cleaning Purposes for Stanford Lane, formerly known as Sycamore Road. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion. Second.
Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-058 was made by Councilperson Rivera and seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-058, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman. Motion carries 8-0 with Councilperson Bajano absent to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-058. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 23-058, Councilperson Ridley.
I just want to say thank you on record to Committee Man Noel Garinga. He's been working with my office for quite some time now to get this street, get parking on the street and get street sweeping on this street. It took a while for us to do some research, but thanks to the law department, they went back and we sorted out everything we needed to do. So now this street will be cleaner for the residents and we won't have as many parking problems prohibiting emergency services from turning down this street. And we're also changing the name of the street as it currently doesn't connect to the rest of Sycamore, and we don't want to have any public safety issues. So that is related to item 3.7. So with that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman. City Ordinance 23-058 is adopted 8-0 with Councilperson Bajano absent. On to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.3, City Ordinance 23-059, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing, Stopping, amending Section 332-31, parking restrictions for street cleaning purposes on 18th Street, North Street, and Washington Boulevard. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
I think it's supposed to be North Boulevard, by the way, instead of North Street. North Street's in the Heights, that's why.
I was advised of that information as well, and so I think we should probably make that amendment, which would not be a substantial change.
Well, let's close the public hearing first.
Motion.
Motion to close the public hearing was on City Ordinance 23-059 was made by Councilperson Saleh and a close second by Councilperson Rivera. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-059, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon. Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman. Motion carries 8-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-059 with Councilperson Bajano absent. So, because we discovered that there is a correction that needs to be made to the title of the ordinance, I have a motion.
Motion to amend the street from North Street to North Boulevard.
To amend ordinance
Second.
23-059. North Street to North Boulevard.
Yes, sir.
That amendment was made by Councilperson Saleh and seconded by Councilperson Rivera. And as our corporation counsel said, it's not a substantial change to the ordinance, correct? It's not a substantial change, right?
It's not a substantial change.
Thank you. On the motion to amend City Ordinance 23-059 from North Street to North Boulevard in the title, Councilperson Ridley.
I'm going to vote yes on the amendment. I just wanted to make sure, do we need to change the ordinance itself also? Or, because you're saying North Boulevard and North Street are in two different places, right? We're not talking about North Street in the Heights? Because in the description, it says Palisade to Central.
I know, it has to be changed. Have to change it. Give me 1 second.
Say that.
Vance?
There is in the body of the ordinance, it does say North Street, so that should be changed to North Avenue as well.
North Boulevard.
Boulevard.
Boulevard, I apologize.
Is that a substantial change?
That is not.
Okay. Vote aye.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore,
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece, Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman. Motion to amend City Ordinance 23-059 from North Street to North Boulevard in the entirety of the ordinance is approved 8-0 with Councilperson Baggiano absent. The final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 23-059 as amended. Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore,
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece, Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman. City Ordinance 23-059 as amended is adopted 8-0 with Councilperson Baggiano absent. Before I read the next ordinance into the record, item 4.4, ordinance 23-060, I believe we have a motion to carry ordinance 23-060 to the July 12th meeting, and I will duly advertise as such. Do I have a motion to carry City Ordinance 23-060 to the July 12th meeting?
Motion to carry.
Second.
Motion made by Councilperson Ridley, seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to carry City Ordinance 23-060 to the July 12th meeting, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore,
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece, Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman. Motion to carry City Ordinance 23-060 to the July 12th meeting is approved 8-0 with Councilperson Baggiano absent. I will duly advertise such ordinance in the paper indicating the change. Next, item 4.5, City Ordinance 23-061 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 9, Parking for the Disabled of the Jersey City Code, designated reserved parking space at various locations throughout the city. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion. Second.
Motion to close the public hearing was made by Councilperson Rivera on City Ordinance 23-061, seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-061, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon, Councilperson Gilmore,
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece, Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman. Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-061 is approved 8-0 with Councilperson Baggiano absent. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 23-061, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye. Aye.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore,
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece, Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 23-061 is adopted 8-0 with Councilperson Baggiano absent. On to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.6, City Ordinance 23-062 is an ordinance amending Chapter A 352 enabling ordinances of the Jersey City Municipal Code designated Glenwood Avenue from Kennedy Boulevard to West Side Avenue as Peacock Way. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion. Second.
Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-062 was made by Councilperson Rivera, seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-062, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman. Motion carries 8-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-062 with Councilperson Bargiano absent. The final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 23-062, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
I just want to thank Anna DePaula, Father Rocco, and Dr. Kornekian from St. Peter's for spearheading this. We were all very proud of the work that the Peacocks did in the basketball tournament for Sweet 16. It's nice that this will be memorialized moving forward. With that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore. Councilperson DeJeece. Councilperson Rivera.
Proud Peacock alum. I vote aye.
Council President Waterman. City Ordinance 23-062 is adopted 8-0 with Councilperson Bargiano absent. On to our next second reading ordinance. Item 4.7, Ordinance 23-063 is an ordinance authorizing the City of Jersey City to enter into a lease with Liberty National Development Company LLC on the real property at Block 27503, Lot 13, on the city's tax map located at the foot of Chapel Avenue for the purposes of reinstating ferry services to the public. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion. Second.
Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-063 was made by Councilperson Rivera, seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-063, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-063 is approved 8-0 with Councilperson Bargiano absent. Before I take a vote, the business administrator would like to address the council.
Council, I just wanted to remind everybody, I didn't mention it at the caucus, but this is a rental agreement because we're finishing some of the late stage environmental remediation and review. So we'll come back to council for purchasing this for the dollar as well. This is just to make sure that the ferry stays on time. And I'd like to thank Councilwoman Denise Ridley for helping us push this along, and Councilwoman Mira Zeri.
Teamwork
Not
makes
me.
the dream work.
Okay. Before we lose our rhythm. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 23-063, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
I'd like to thank Councilman Prince Airy for all her hard work on this, and with that, I vote aye. That's right. Thank you, Councilman and Councilman Ridley.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman. City Ordinance 23-063 is adopted 8-0 with Councilperson Bargiano absent. On to our next and last second reading ordinance, item 4.8, City Ordinance 23-064 is an ordinance authorizing the acquisition by purchase or condemnation of Block 10601, Lot 42 on a tax map of the City of Jersey City, also known as 50 Journal Square, for the construction of a public park. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record. Just give me one moment before you do that. And I just need your name first. You have to bring your mic up, all the way up to you.
How's that?
That's good.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, council members. My name is Jill Quencel.
Jill, can you spell your last name?
Quentzel.
Thank you so much, Jill.
Good evening. I want to thank you, council members, for your time and for giving me this opportunity to speak to you about my family's 100-year history in Jersey City and our 40-year history of owning this building, 50 Journal Square, which, as you know, is next to a 10-foot wide alley walkway easement, and then the Lowe's Theater is next to it. I'm sure you're all familiar with it, but here's a quick pic of our building, the Lowe's, and then there's a 2-story building next to that. That's considered 48 Journal Square. Because council members, my father was born and bred in Jersey City. My brother and I were born in Jersey City. We worked with my dad in this building. I only want this building to go from my father through me to my child. His name is Justice. Justice is a very important concept to me. Eminent domain in this case is not a fair response, or is it necessary? We are willing to come in and speak with the city and offer many concept plans that could even give the city what they want. Council members, my father always wanted all his life to have a building in Jersey City in Journal Square. He also was part of the Green Villa development. He also was part of giving you Section 8 housing on Van Wagenen and Bergen Avenue. We love Jersey City. We love Journal Square. My father named me for Journal Square. JSQ, Jill Sandra Quencel. Please don't take this building from us. We have been waiting 40 years for everyone else to come and finally bring the music back to Journal Square. The state song of New Jersey, the Jersey Bounce by Ella Fitzgerald. It started at Journal Square. Oh, the music was always there. This is what we want to do, and we can give you concepts that give the city what they want. The city is claiming that it wants our ground floor, which is only 1,800 square feet, smaller than most of your homes probably. It's 25 by 75 feet. You know, to say that it's for a park or to a park connotes benches and swings that would park your body there and stop the flow of traffic. Actually, this is.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
need to just say that.
Your time is
there
up,
was
ma'am.
an
I'm sorry.
8.1 offer that we received from KRE in the back of our building. They own the properties behind our
Ma'am,
theater.
your time is up.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was that short. Please, I need to
3
have that
minutes.
on the
Thank you.
record. They wanted this ground floor and they
Thank
were
you.
ready, willing, and
Ma'am,
able buyer to
Your time is up.
$1 million for
Ma'am?
this property. We don't want to fight.
Ma'am, your time is up. Thank you.
To give you what you want. I'm
Next
sorry.
speaker.
I'm sorry. It's 100 years, and
Next speaker.
please table this ordinance so that we can come and give. you
Ma'am, you're
concepts.
disrupting the meeting, please.
I apologize. I'm so sorry. Thank you very much for listening to me and for considering tabling this ordinance. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Hi, my name is Patrick Hambrecht,
Patrick. And spell your last name for me.
Ham,
Ham.
M like a ham sandwich, BRECHT,
It's 2 M's, right?
1M.
1 M.
That's awesome.
What's after that M? Because,
It's a BRE like breathe, and then Charlie Harry Thomas.
thank you. Go ahead, Patrick.
I represent, I'm the vice president of the Lincoln Park North Block Association, and I'm a local real estate broker. I have about a 2-minute walk from this building and a music enthusiast. Since the Journal Square Lounge is closed, there has been nothing on the west side. It is our last tie to the music of the past. There are so many music venues that for perfectly good reasons have closed. The PS Lounge, Affairs. This is it. This is the last connection to the Tube Bar. I don't know anyone in Lincoln Park who likes the idea of tearing down this historic building. And I'm asking you to work with the owners of this building and see if they can reopen the Journal Square Lounge. I understand that the Lowe's is a big music venue that will open in the future and will bring out of towners. This is a local music venue for locals, and it's of enormous importance. I hope that you consider working with the owners to reopen the Journal Square Lounge or a music venue like it. Thanks.
Thank you.
This is still a public hearing. Seeing Gene Daly.
Yes, good evening, Jean Daly. And since I don't have my glasses on, oh, I'll hear the beep. Okay. You all received today from what I believe is a letter from the Jersey City Landmarks Conservancy. I'm going to read bits of it so everyone understands it. I want everyone to know, especially the audience back who are not here today. But it says the Jersey City Landmarks Conservancy opposes any plans that includes the demolition of 50 Journal Square. This historically significant site was the tallest building in Journal Square upon completion, which was actually a catalyst for all the building in Journal Square. It was built by Henry Runyon, who was a pioneer developed for all the buildings in Journal Square. And it's also associated with the time of great architecture when the first skyscrapers were built, including the Empire State Building. This was the era of that, and this is our Jersey City version of that. It has great significance. One of the architects of it, the firm's major partner, was J. Hollis Wells, a Jersey City native. He designed the famous Apthorpe on the Upper West Side in Manhattan. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but it is the most remarkable architectural structure one could lay an eye on in Manhattan on the West Side. He also designed the, Bergen Trust Bank building on Monticello Avenue, Carteret Club on Duncan Avenue, the Trust Company of New Jersey headquarters in Journal Square, and the Jersey City Medical Center on Baldwin Avenue, which has since been demolished. So the Universal Building was Wells' last skyscraper for Journal Square. Many of his grandest homes were also built on Bentley, the Doctors Row, Gifford and Harrison Avenues are by his hand, and including his still extant mansion on Gifford Avenue. This site is very important to Jersey City. We have to keep our history, and we have to keep whatever we have regarding this alive. How are you going to demolish one of our historic sites when the Jersey City Landmark Conservancy recommends that it be as a prime candidate for adaptive reuse? I'm going to come back to them, affordable housing, retail, or other uses. The benefits of preserving this site outweigh those of demolishing this marker of Journal Square's founding history. Our founding history, and you want to demolish it? Now, the Jersey City Landmarks is asking you to vote no on this ordinance. And this building meets the criteria to be landmarked, preserved, and incorporated into Journal Square's future, not
Thank you.
demolished.
Thanks, Jean.
Next speaker.
Good evening, Council. Erica Walker, speaking on as a Jersey City resident and as a child of Jersey City property owners, as a grandchild of Jersey City property owners. I feel like the city should challenge itself to do a much better job in helping residents who have been here take advantage of the growth of the city, as opposed to allowing developers to be the ones who are primarily benefiting from the growth of the city. We have an amazing opportunity to use this as an example of how to win, how we can teach our homeowners how to win, how we can teach our existing property owners how to make money, off of their land and stay here. I want my parents and my grandparents to learn how to become developers, how to learn how to become landlords, and how to learn how to profit off of land that they've paid taxes on for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And I don't feel like as a city, we're educating our residents enough. I don't feel like as a city, we're being proactive. I feel like we take what we get as opposed to finding ways to get more for our residents. So I would love to see us use this as an example of how we can keep this property in the hands that worked on it, bled in it, cried for it, struggled to keep it all these years. Just to take it away and for not to reap the benefits of all that labor doesn't make sense. So I just want to call on this city to be proactive in teaching our residents how to be better property managers and how to make a plan to stay here and help add to this great development that's happening and not just be a witness of other people profiting off of our backs. Please vote no.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Evening, City Council. My name is Chris Perez.
Chris. Before you go on, your last name?
P-E-R-E-Z.
P-E-R-E-Z.
You got it.
Thank you.
I don't want to repeat too many things. Personally, I agree with what Ms. Walker just said about how we can empower the individual property owners to be stewards, in this case, stewards of historically significant properties. A lot of times we own things and we don't even realize what their value are. How many times have you gone up in your attic and you find that awesome baseball card? You had no idea it was worth $10,000 or had this awesome history. So this evening, I just want to reiterate that the Jersey City Landmarks Conservancy opposes plans to take and demolish this site. As mentioned earlier, this building is associated with architects who defined early skyscraper construction in New York City, and they brought that to Journal Square twice, building the Trust Company of New Jersey building and the Universal building. The Universal building was designed by Clinton and Russell, a pioneer skyscraper construction architecture firm based in Manhattan. The firm's Hudson Terminal, when unveiled in 1909, was the largest building in New York. The firm's major partner was John Hollis Wells, a Jersey City native. He designed the famous Antwerp on the Upper West Side that was mentioned earlier and is a landmark. And in his hometown, the Bergen Trust Building on Monticello Avenue, the Carteret Club on Duncan, now St. Dominic Academy, the Trust Company of New Jersey headquarters in Journal Square, and the Jersey City Medical Center on Baldwin Avenue, which has been demolished. The Universal building was Wells' last skyscraper for Journal Square. He died before its construction from 1925 to 1926, leaving Clinton and Russell to complete it. Many of the grandest homes on Bentley, Gifford, and Harrison Avenues are built by his hand. The Universal building was home to various institutions and businesses. On June 28, 1926, New Jersey Governor A. Harry Moore turned the key, opening the doors to the interim home of the Labor National Bank at 50 Journal Square. The institution was moved to 26 Journal Square when that building was completed in 1928. And while the Lowe's was prospering next door, in 1931, the WAAT radio station, operated by the New Jersey Review, installed state-of-the-art studios, including a large concert studio and 2 smaller studios on the building's 3rd and 8th floors. WAAT was one of the first stations in the United States to operate regularly scheduled programming that included many live performances in their studios by Frank Sinatra and others, helping launch their careers. The site has also been the headquarters for several political campaigns, Democratic and Republican, local and gubernatorial nominations. The JCLC is an advocate of preserving and creating parks and open space where appropriate. However, any plans to demolish the site would discard a piece of Journal Square history and result in tons of waste going to the landfill. 50 Journal Square is a prime candidate for adaptive reuse as a community and cultural center, affordable housing.
Thank you, Chris.
Benefits of preserving this site outweigh those of demolishing
Thank you,
this
Chris.
marker of Journal Square.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Enough now. Everybody trying to go over. Let me speak up here.
Hey.
Nice.
Your name?
Sure, Anna Davies, Davies. As a citizen, I just want to co-sign the opposition of 50 Journal Square. I'm here with my 8-year-old, and even hearing the story and sort of reading it through, this idea that developers and the city can just take something that's valuable from homeowners because they want to. And also, as a parent and connoisseur of Jersey City public parks, I have to say that the idea of converting this space into a park does not make sense. As a pedestrian walkway, it sounds like a complete waste of taxpayer resources and a missed opportunity to really create homegrown change and the ability to really build on history. So I just felt compelled to speak because this doesn't make sense to me as a citizen, and the park doesn't sound very fun. So thank you.
Okay, man.
Andes, Jersey City. Thank you, Erica, for saying that the city needs to take care of Jersey City residents and history. And Councilman Bogiano could not be here, and he regrets that. He's been trying to speak to everybody to please protect Jersey City history. Protect this family of 100 years. Please don't do this. Eminent domain. That is not what we are about. Taking stuff from Jersey City blood. This is us. This is Journal Square. And I want us to do a better job. Before the city brings this up to council, did we even ask historic preservation that for approvals for demolition? We should have video. The burden of proof should be that this building, yes, is about to crumble down. Well, where's that proof? We need to do our better job on homework before it gets to city council. The burden of proof, due diligence, that's what the council members should get. And I would like to respect Mrs. Quenzel by reading the last part of her speech. Last year, KRE offered her and the family bona fide cash offer by a ready and willing and able buyer of $8.1 million for 50 Journal Square. Not 1 million, not 900,000, 8.1 million. That was just the start of talks, okay? Last year, that's the beginning. Now, they were shutting her down. They were not letting her be a partner, and that's why she refused it. So there was still some room for negotiation, and she wanted to say, please give me time to negotiate. Please let me be a part of Jersey Journal. This is my blood, and I want it to continue. So for the Quenzel family, on behalf of them, and on behalf of Jersey City family, residents, and history, and for the man I love, Councilman Rich Bogiano, please, I ask you as a courtesy, since he is not here, to vote to carry at the very least to the next meeting so that perhaps we could get more information from the city. Thank you. I love you, Rich. Bye.
Like a love affair here.
Next speaker, your name?
Hi, my name is Will Burns. I'm a local practicing architect in the state of New Jersey. I just have a few things to say. I read an article about this and I was appalled. And the reason I'm appalled, there are a number of reasons. Chief among them is this is probably my favorite building in all of Journal Square. Ever since I've moved here 10 years ago. I look at that building and I think about it all the time. It has to stay. It has to be one of the most dramatic looking small skyscrapers. It's a beautiful building. And if you tear that down, you will never get it back. And if you're going to put a park there and spend hundreds of thousands upon millions of dollars to put some benches, it's going to be a tragedy because I'm not going to go to that park. And I don't think that the city has been asked whether they want a park or whether they want to keep the fabric of the city, which is what brings people here in the first place, because you can't get it back. Once you take it down, it's gone forever. Thank you.
Thank you.
You always want to know how we lost it. Be 75 in a couple months. I went up to 50 John Square as a baby, going to that movie with Judge Barrett's brother work, and we ate hot dogs at the hot dog stand next door. This is brick and mortar. Why do we keep tearing this stuff down? We need another park like we need another hole in our head. Stop tearing down history in this city. Montgomery Gardens, we got 2 buildings left. I said, don't tear no more down. You got enough money wasted in this city, and I'm a developer. We going backwards, city. We going backwards. That building said something, and we missing it. We need a park up there, like we need a hole in my head, just like we're gonna take on North Avenue, the old courthouse. Instead of redoing that, tearing that down, putting a park over there. What's wrong with us? We got all this homeless going on in the street. People can't even afford to live here. My family owns 43 properties here in this city. We ain't going nowhere. My father went back with Mayor Haig days. Just like George Falapia, when I talked to him, when he did that hospital over to them apartments, I don't know where they got to tear down the building of the Margaret Haig. I don't know where that one came from. But he kept them buildings. He renovated brick and mortar from a hospital to one of the best housing up there on Montgomery Street and Baldwin Avenue. Council, please take this off the and table it. Thank you. God bless you.
This is still a public hearing on City Ordinance 23-064. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion. Second.
Motion to close the public hearing was made by Councilperson Rivera on City Ordinance 23-064, seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-064, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman. Motion carries 8-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-064 with Councilperson Bajano absent. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 23-064.
Sean, I want to ask a few questions because I wasn't privy to any of that, and the presentation that I received was not indicative to any of that right there, that backstory. So I do just want to request, in light of Councilman Boggiano not being here today, in light of me not knowing the dynamics of the communication, and I just, it's just so much uncertainty, I feel like, for me to vote on eminent domain, the demolishing, especially when we receive documentation from a body that we normally typically take their recommendations. So I just want to ask if there is, one, is this time sensitive in the sense that we have to vote on it today? And two, can we, at the bare minimum, carry it to the next meeting to give the councilman in that time frame time to communicate with his colleagues, the community, and things like that?
Council, the administration is going to proceed with this tonight. We're not going to delay it any further. The rationale there is that we're trying to line it up to have construction done as the Lowe's interior is being done. So we're trying to keep that together. Just a few points on the conversations that were had tonight. One thing that is certain, that if you vote for this and it's confirmed tonight, it is for public use. It's not for a developer, unlike we've heard tonight with KRE and possible hotel plans that were, some plans included knocking the building down for profit. So I think it's important that we discuss that. The second part of that is As I mentioned at the caucus meeting and the prior meetings, it's not going to be a park with swing sets that, that people have commented on tonight. It's going to be an entranceway and an open public area for individuals commuting through Journal Square, including that alleyway. It'll make it a lot safer. And also connected to the Lowe's. I mentioned we could have some greenery there. There'll be maybe a side entrance into the Lowe's. There's a few different opportunities there. When we talk about this building, it's not a historic building as if we look at a courthouse or we look at City Hall. This is a dilapidated building that has straps designated on it, on its facade. It has cardboard in the building, in the windows, and most or some parts of this building have been completely empty for upwards of 2 decades. So that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about that building and its facade as it stands. We're talking about the safety of the alleyway and the pedestrians that use it daily. And we're talking about creating a public space for residents. Now, there has been conversations, there were some conversations around, the cost and the negotiations. The city has an obligation to have a true faith effort in continuing to negotiate with the landowners of that. The reason I mentioned the lower estimate was because Councilman Borgiano had mentioned a number that was similar to the KRE product that was $8 million plus. The reason they were starting at $8 million plus is because they were looking to make a development in which they'd make return on investment of millions of dollars. So that was a business decision for them. It's not a business decision for us. It's a public use effort, and that's what we're looking to do here. So I just wanted to present some clarity there, and we're going to send it to a vote. And one other thing, just before we continue, we have had conversations tonight about the historic and different associated partnerships with the historic, and we do appreciate the work they do. However, for this parcel, the conversation about historic had only been mentioned once the eminent domain had been presented. Not necessarily, there's never an application provided beforehand or an inquiry to review it. It's only now that we're looking to seek the eminent domain.
So 2 weeks would throw the whole timing off?
The administration doesn't feel that 2 weeks is going to create any ample opportunity to present a different argument than we have today.
I just think
Please,
that,
hey, wait a minute.
yeah, can you?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Some of you have never been in this chamber before. What I ask is people to respect each other. So no booing or anything like that, okay? You can disagree, but you don't have to boo or whatever, all right? Let's just keep ourselves respectable.
Yes.
All right, okay? All right then. All right. Now,
I want to
Councilman,
make,
finish your point. Let the councilman finish his point here. Go ahead.
I think just seeing the severity of eminent domain, the historical context, and plus me seeing a building that's been in Ward F for 30 years that we don't even enforce the developer to do nothing with it because he's a big developer in the city. So I just want to request, I want to make a motion to carry this to the next meeting, July 12th. So I'll make a motion.
So at this point, Councilman, you'd be making a motion to table ordinance 23-064 after the close of the public hearing.
Yes.
So we have a motion by Councilperson Gilmore to table city ordinance 23-064 after the close of the public hearing. May I have a second? Hearing no second, motion fails. For final consideration and adoption of city ordinance 23-064, Councilperson Bridley.
I just have a couple questions for the administration. I know that, PA, you mentioned that it's not historic, and I know before we knock things down or before a developer or a resident knock things down, our historic preservation department looks to ensure that the building is not deemed historical by the standards. Because this is the city, we would have to follow that same standard, right?
No, it doesn't
Or
apply
no?
to the city councilwoman.
Doesn't?
As far as the city entity, it wouldn't apply.
Okay, but we are doing our due diligence to make sure it doesn't meet those requirements, is what you're saying. It's not deemed historic right now.
It's not deemed historic, and it's not the burden of the city as an organization to present that argument.
Okay. And then Councilman Borgiano also mentioned being concerned about the Friends of the Lowe's being contacted. Have we spoken to them?
The Friends of the Lowe's did have a meeting with JCRA today. It was discussed. There was no positive or negative attribute to that. It was just that they are aware of it. And I don't want to speak for them, but they're more concerned about the interior of the Lowe's and the structural facade of the Lowe's itself. But I did mention at the caucus meeting that I promised the council president that we would bring it back to the Lowe's group, the Friends of the Lowe's, and the council before any plans are designed. But this is just the first step in that process.
Okay. And it will come back before the council before any designs or any final.
Purchase would come back to the council, as well as capital funding or reallocation and the design.
Okay. 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 I think I'm going to vote yes, because it's going to come back to us before any purchases happen. So before we purchase anything or demolish anything, we have to see this again. I'm going to ask that we do communicate with the family. It seems like the young lady that came up here said she's not opposed to a park. Maybe there is a middle ground. Maybe that middle ground actually saves the city money on some of that construction of that park. I think it is a valuable conversation to have with that owner of the building. So I ask that we please keep that in mind moving forward and before we get to the next phase of this.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
So knowing that the council will be involved in all these steps further along the way, for me, this is very challenging because eminent domain is a very slippery slope, but we also have to think about the totality of what we want to do in Journal Square with the Lowe's and some of these other projects. There are state tax credits that are involved for some of this work that we want to do. And if the timelines end up not syncing up further along the line, that could be problematic for the entire area. I'm going to go ahead and vote yes, knowing that this will be coming back to council again for further steps.
Councilperson Saleh.
No, this is really upsetting that we have to vote on this. I feel like it shouldn't even have to come to the city council at all, but this is coming to us because the property has been left in disarray for nearly 20 years, and eminent domain is an extraordinary step that is taken, but it's a step that even the founding fathers understood when they put it in the Fifth Amendment. You know, there is no taking of government of any property, private property, without just compensation. So we as a council, we receive complaints about properties that are left in disarray, and everyone talks all this smack about people that leave their properties and just, you know, then we are left with the public safety hazard, the cleanliness issue, all of the issues that come with people that aren't tending to their property. And now the city is taking this step to make it into a public park. And I really am upset that we have to do this, but there are a lot of properties like this across Jersey City that pose a threat to public
Not to
safety.
yell out. Okay, Laverne, you come here every week.
This isn't
Okay.
going to a developer. This isn't going, if people love this property, they would have made sure to tend to it. Okay, so this is addressing a community concern, and it's far from over. It's going to come back to the city council. Okay, so there needs to be a plan that's developed. And with that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Knowing that it's coming back to the council and that it's been dilapidated for 20 years, I vote aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
I'm gonna vote no. I just think that it set bad precedents when we have eminent domain and we only use it for certain people. There's other properties, there's other lots that I've seen that have been dilapidated for over 30 years in Jersey City. So to say that, you know, I mean, and I don't know the whole dynamics of the maintenance and the upkeep and or whatever, but what I do know is that it seems as though certain people are given certain leverages, certain benefits of the doubt. So in light of all that, I'll vote no.
Councilperson DeGise. Can't hear you.
Knowing it's going to come back to the council for more guidance on the design and on the negotiations with the current owner, I vote aye.
Councilperson Rivera
I vote aye.
and Council President Waterman.
I had a conversation with Councilman Rich Bogiano, who is not here, and he really wanted us to table it, but based on the way, you know, our votes go, we could not table it because nobody else really wanted to table it. But because I am a person of my word and I want to keep my word with Rich because he was trying to get more information concerning this project. And I spoke to the owner of this project. The building is dilapidated. Why you didn't keep it up, I really don't know. All right, I don't know. And I knew it was a family squabble. You can't go back and forth now, okay? It was a family, you know, disagreement. You couldn't get it together or whatever the case may be. But this already passed. I'm going to abstain because I want to keep my word to Rich because he's not here. And what I try to do as the council president, I try to stick by whoever ward it is, what they feel about it. Okay, so he's not here, so I'm abstaining because Rich is not here. And I would have liked to stick by Rich on this issue here. It passed already, okay? But I'm abstaining because of Rich Bogiano, because he did ask me. And I just want to keep my word to Rich. But the truth is, though, when it comes to dilapidated projects, we do need to make sure that we remove the eyesore. We get complaints about buildings being an eyesore. I'm not for eminent domain. I think that's one of the most challenging things that you could ever do to anybody's property. All right, so that's why I'm abstaining because I do want to keep my word to Rich.
Okay, city ordinance.
No, I
23
did vote no because of the simple fact I told him that I would abstain. Just like some issues he abstained on because he's not clear with it. All right, we have a relationship here. All right.
So did you change your vote or you're abstaining?
Abstaining.
Okay. City ordinance 23-064 is adopted 6-1-1 with Councilperson Gilmore voting no and Council President Waterman abstaining. On to our next item. Our next item is a public hearing on the 2023-2024 Exchange Place Alliance Special Improvement District Assessment Roll and Budget. This is a public hearing on the assessment roll and budget. Make sure you stay on the subject of the assessment roll and budget. You have 3 minutes, and our first speaker is Jean Daly.
My apologies, Council President. No, I knew he would have voted no. Yeah, we'll get started here.
Go ahead, Jean.
Yep. Yes, I will stay on topic. The reason I'm here speaking is because I look at the Exchange Place Alliance budget and how fat it is. And some of the elements that I find interesting is that the salaries of the people working there is $400,000 in total, which is pretty hefty when, from my understanding, at last check, there are only 2 employees. Now, you may think, okay, it doesn't matter, but the point is the amount of money that's assessed on the businesses is based on what they choose as a budget. They're not told that they're allowed to have this. They make their budget and then everyone else gets hit for whatever portion they're supposed to be. So when I'm looking at some of these expenses, and sometimes I've followed their contracts, it's really, I'd say it could need some tightening. I do know at the caucus meeting, there was conversation about the $100,000 legal fee. I think that's actually underestimating it because there have been legal actions against the Exchange Place Alliance. Myself, I'm party to 2 of them. One has been possibly settled. The other one is still up for grabs. But if we're going to be granting these people, this organization as budget, I do believe they should be they should be meeting more than 4 times a year. And they should be meeting in person, not virtually. We're here virtually. What's the problem? There should be at least 10 meetings per year. The amount of money they're spending and we can't get a meeting till every 4 months? That to me is problematic because so much goes on behind the scenes. I see stuff, letters written to this party or that party that were clearly done without the public's knowledge. And I think that lack of transparency is why we can't pass this budget. Their budget, they're not living up to what we expect of them as an entity. What other special improvement district has that type of budget and is so closed, so secretive? That's an issue. My ask is, I know last time when this came up, you asked, I guess, Councilman Saleh had stated that you were hoping that the Alliance would do better. And I think, Mr. Solomon, you said the same, hoping the Alliance will do better in their transparency, but they haven't. If anything, they get worse. Their documents aren't posted up. You know, it's not transparent, and many of their minutes do not reflect what happens in those meetings because I record the meetings.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is still a public hearing on the 2023-2024 Exchange Place Special Improvement District Assessment Roll and Budget. See Philip Carrington.
Good evening. My name is Phil Carrington. The special improvement district for this area or any area has the same connotation. It operates quite the same. And so my problem is that why is it that we have to business, well, let me give clarity. The taxes from this that goes to them goes directly from the taxpayers to them, meaning that your salary is paid by everybody in Jersey City. The special improvement district, their salary is paid directly from the taxes that paid only for the businesses in that area. And so they have an obligation to the people in that special improvement district. The question then is, why do we have to go to them and ask them to be placed on a list to be recognized for whatever they're doing? And that happens in my area as well, and it happens here also. And that means that the improvement that is being done seems to be done for certain people and in certain sections. I also see that there are times when they're not really needed. I'm sorry, they're not really needed because there are other sections, other divisions within the city doing quite the same thing that they're doing. I have an issue with the one in my area, but you say stay on the subject. The subject is still special improvement district, and it is a special improvement district in Jersey City. And so they're all basically the same thing. But I'm going to hold off for the time being. Enough said.
Thank you. This is still a public hearing on the 2023, and I see Elizabeth Kane.
Good evening, Council Administration. I'm Elizabeth Kane, C-A-I-N, the Executive Director of the Exchange Place Alliance, which is the Special Improvement District. And I just really came up, I wanted to say Mr. Carrington is correct. We're funded by special assessment on commercial properties within a certain area, and we do that to supplement city services, which can't normally be supplemented in such a densely populated area that has like lots of visitors and commercial properties. So that being said, I think that we've had an incredible public-private partnership. We've gotten a lot done. A lot of it took a very long time, but now we're almost nearly finished with our plaza that was fully funded cash by these special assessments. It's like we were talking about, a public park that everyone can enjoy no matter where they're from on the city. And we should be really proud of our waterfront. And I'm really proud to be able to work on it and make it better and something that we can all be proud of. And I just appreciate all the support that you guys have given us over the years. And I'm thankful that we're finally seeing some of the things coming to fruition. It's been taking a really long time. Forward to doing more in the future. And if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, this is still a public hearing on the 2023-2024 Exchange Place Alliance Special Improvement District and assessment roll and budget. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion.
Motion to close the public hearing on the 2023-2024 Exchange Place Alliance Special Improvement District Assessment Roll and Budget was made by Councilperson Saleh. May I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilperson Rivera. On the motion to close the public hearing on the 2023-2024 Exchange Place Alliance Special Improvement District Assessment Roll and Budget, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman. Motion carries 8-0 with Councilperson Bongiorno absent. On to our public speakers. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be calling the number and the first name of the public speaker, so please pay attention. Each member gets 3 minutes. Our first speaker, 5.1, Laverne.
I apologize for my outbreak. Of course, living in this city all my 75 years and the growth to see what's going on with housing. I don't work for this city. I run a nonprofit. I don't get grant money for nothing I do. I get developers to help me. We got so many projects going on in Jones Square right now. And the homeless and the seniors that need more housing in this city. All right, you can eminent domain it, but can't we be habilitated? That's my point. We can get some of them developers to get back to the city, to take this building and reestablish it. Then we working with something. But where we at now to tear down that building, and when we need housing in Jones Square, we got homes up there, we got seniors up there that need housing. Before we do the next step with that, when you're eminent domain it, but don't knock it down. I didn't see so much happen with knocking good brick buildings down that they said wasn't no good left in this city. We got 2 buildings over there in Montgomery Gardens standing right now. We took one of the ones that stand out of the 3 and made a senior building. So it could be done. The buildings that they put back there are 3-story shack houses on stack trails on top of each other. When you had 13-story brick building, and now you got a stack housing that people can hear each other walk and talk. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. We missing something. We lost a lot of housing over there. Not only there, Lafayette Gardens, Curry Woods, Duncan. Please, council, please do better. Our people need somewhere to lay their head. When I work with developers, I can't even talk to them. I'm going home. Y'all got it.
I believe former Mayor McCann left. So our next speaker, 5.3, Noreen. Is Noreen here? Okay. Next speaker, 5.4, Matt. Not here. Next speaker, 5.5, Peter. .6, Nancy.
Wait, that's Peter?
Who's Peter?
Oh, it's,
Oh.
go ahead.
So I asked to follow along with the agenda, right? 5.6, Nancy. 5.7, Philip.
Members of the City Council, City Clerk, I am Philip Harrington. My topic today is I am again requesting the suspension or the firing of Christian Goodman on ethical behavior and or practices. Additionally, I ask for the suspension of William O'Donnell for basically the same thing. We'll ask also that Councilwoman Denise Ridley needs to step down or resign for municipal misconduct and failure to represent. On the issue with Christine Goodman, as I stated for the last 11 months, her involvement in an organization that showed favoritism with another organization which she had a fiduciary interest in is unethical and a conflict of interest. Not only her, it was her, the mayor, Stacey Flanagan, Amy DeGeese, and a whole lot of people, and cause a problem. The problem is that she gave a two answer, a yes and a no answer to a single question. Yes, you approve. Would I approve? Come what I call analytical rigor. And that was good. The no benefit her. And many of the city agree with that. And for those of you who support that, really lost your dignity. She based it based on William O'Donnell and his decision. And he said that Christine Goodman had the right to override his decision. His decision was made on the 11th. On the 13th, they override his decision. So there was no need for that. Denise Ridley, by the way, I live in her ward. 11 months I've been here. I raised issue everywhere you can talk about discrimination, arbitrary laws, whatever you can talk about. Denise did nothing. Had nothing to say, failure to represent. Dennis is really just a waste of time. I call her a real weak-kneed bubblegum politician. You really need to step down. And so you have 30 days to answer, to give me an answer as to why you chose not to represent me. That's taxation, not representation.
Phil, you know you got to address me. Address me. Stop going on the side, okay? Give him a second.
You're correct.
Respond, please. Yes, I want to respond.
I
Because every meeting we get up here, we go through the same thing. And this is the first time that he's actually said, I've done nothing, when I'm the only person that gave him an answer to his inquiry. From the very beginning, I have all the emails, you have all the emails. So your opinion of me is fine, but I'm the only person that got you an answer. And furthermore, you might live in my ward. The event wasn't in my ward. I didn't even know it. I didn't have to see the permit. The event was in a totally different ward. So please don't say that I did not try to help you, because I have the documentation to back it up. Now, if you don't like me, that's one thing, and that's totally fine. I don't mind that. You're entitled to your opinion. But don't say I didn't do anything to help you, because I did. I was the first person to help you.
That's not an opinion. That's
Okay, all right, that's it.
It's not a
No
back and forth.
Thank you, Phil. Thank
No,
you.
Council, you told me you have 20 seconds. to
No,
interrupt.
no, we said you have 1 second. So you gotta hurry up, Phil.
What was that?
You have a second, 1 second, let's go.
She took 1 second to say.
Didn't give you 20 seconds.
Well, give me the time. It can't be 1 second.
Okay,
I cannot make a statement in 1 second.
Phil,
That's just-
Phil, you come every month. Now you know the rules. I'm giving you 1 more second. I don't care what you say, just get it out. Okay,
It's highly improbable.
thank you.
I'm Phil Kent.
Wow.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, our next speaker, 5.8, Michael.
So good evening. My name is Michael Angelo Robertson. I am speaking on behalf of the House of the Pergolatis through Venus Extravaganza. I am an adjunct professor at Union Theological Seminary in New York City at the New School University in New York City. And I'm going to do this briefly because I know I'll get a beep. But over a month and some change ago, that we reflected on the 3rd anniversary of George Floyd's death. And I'm duly aware that most of us paid more attention to it because we're in a global pandemic and a global pause. But 3 weeks prior to that, in Missouri, a Black trans woman named Nina Pop was murdered. And 6 days after that, in the same town as George Floyd, a Black trans woman was brutally beat by 30 people. And even in this global pause, that the echoes of these trans women were never heard. Well, today, Venus Extravaganza legacy says very differently. We know that in 1988, Venus was brutally murdered. Venus comes from a community that emerges out of the Harlem Renaissance in contestation to the Black church, trying to get rid of Black queers in Harlem, that migrates across the country, that creates a house ball structure in the late 60s. And the House of Extravaganza, this first Latin house, was formed by Angie and Hector. Venus emerges out of that space. And only through the ancestors of a powerful woman that she could bring her biological family, the Pergolatis, and our houseball family, the Extravaganzas, together. And I want to tell you that in our community, that's unheard of. And I am the founder of the House of Mason Margiela, and we've joined forces with them with this moment. And so Venus' legacy as a Latin trans woman is for Latin trans women, yes, but it's also for African-American trans women, right? But it's also for LGBTQ people around the world, but it's also for you. Because her legacy speaks of the old adage that Fannie Lou Hamer once said, until we all are free, none of us are free. So I want to thank you for hearing the echoes of so many people whose echoes go unheard. I promise you, you'll be rewarded by the universe that you're on the right side of history. So I thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.9, Jillian.
Hello, council people. My name is Jillian Pelagatti, and I am the niece of Venus Pelagatti Extravaganza. If you've watched Paris is Burning, like many other people, you fall in love with Venus. And due to her murder, I also had to fall in love with her on screen because she was murdered 5 years before I was born. So I did not have that opportunity to get her to know her personally. But through this experience where her biological family and her chosen family has come together, it's been remarkable. And I feel like I am closer to Venus than I've ever been before. And being the niece of Venus and my father, just being the next generation, I want my kids to grow up in a world where they don't have to see a flag in a window to feel safe when walking into a space. I see this as a piece of that future, and I see your vote in approving this as being a really remarkable piece of that future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.10, John.
Evening, City Council. Some of you are friends of mine, Mr. Rivera, Mr. Geese up there. Like my niece said, it's really historic what me and my brothers are doing. I lost my sister 30 years ago, more than that. And she did change a lot of lives, not just here in Jersey City, but in the world. Trust me when I'm telling you, in the world. And I'm going to just ask each and every one of you, you know the right thing to do. So please consider what everybody's saying and do the right thing. I know you will. So some of you I know personally, so greatly appreciate your time. Thank you.
Next speaker, 5.11, Helen. Next speaker, 5.12, Sydney.
Good evening, council members. My name is Sydney Ballou Extravaganza. I am speaking on behalf of my late sister, Venus Extravaganza. I'm a TV writer, producer. I worked as a journalist, and I've written about ballroom for publications like Vice and the New York Times. And I was a co-executive producer on a show on HBO Max called Legend Seasons about ballroom culture. Just to take us back in time, since it's Pride Month, I wanted to share a little story because I remember what it was like to come out in 2007 as a Black queer student at the University of Pennsylvania. Back then, the landscape was very different. The conversation was about gay marriage, gay adoption, and whether or not gays and lesbians could be trusted around children. From the time as a student at Penn, I remember when Tyler Clementi, a student at Rutgers, was unfortunately being bullied for being gay and committed suicide off of the George Washington Bridge. For a lot of us queer and trans students back then, it was a very scary time to be alive. We saw the reaction of the United States. We saw the reaction of our government, and we wondered if anyone would do anything. I remember 2 years later, then Vice President Joe Biden going on Meet the Press, and he spoke in support of gay and lesbian rights at the time. And one of his quotes, which he was remembered for, was saying the following: "I think Will and Grace did more to educate the American public, more than almost anything anybody has done so far. People fear that which is different. Now they're beginning to understand." What President Joe Biden was referencing at the time is the importance of storytelling and how sharing stories humanizes us in society when we're being demonized. For me, as a TV writer, a producer, an author, and a Black transgender man, I know this to be true. Back in 2012, I know I was coming to terms with my own sexuality, coming out. I saw Paris is Burning and fell in love with Venus Extravaganza like so many other people. And I fell in love with her because her story humanized us. It showed us the possibility of what a trans life could be. It could be full of joy. It could be full of hope. It could be full of inspiration. I know for me as a kid growing up, I remember going to Abraham Lincoln's house as a kid, seeing what it was like to be in that time and to learn about how he was a great American. This opportunity to make Venus's home a landmark is a great opportunity to show LGBTQ+ youth that they too can be great Americans, just like Venus. I would strongly urge the council to turn her home into a landmark, to make this a historical moment so that we can change the future for future kids so they can know that they could be great too. Thank you.
Next speaker, Janine.
Yes, Jean Daly. Tonight, I'm actually at a loss for what to say because there's so much that we're not discussing because the resolutions are all lumped together and we don't get to go over them individually, really. But there are a couple of things I do want to cover. One being is this budget appropriation that we're going to expand the budget one more time. And we're supposed to be reining in the spending, not spending more. And I just have a problem with that because I think there's a lot of oversight. Well, actually not a lot of oversight about how the city spends and wastes its money. I was thinking especially about what Laverne was saying, Webb Washington, and it is a travesty that that building, that you guys would even consider tearing it down. I know councilmen, councilwomen have stated that the building was in bad shape and that the cardboard and the windows and this, that, and the other thing, but was it physically in bad shape? But we don't know. I mean, unless you toured the place, possibly you did. The point being is we need to maintain our buildings and keep them as structures, like Laverne was saying, for the homeless. Now, last council meeting, you were taking a break, Council President Waterman, when there was this whole deal about a property that the city owns, the Jersey City Redevelopment Agency owned on Sip Avenue, and that the city was going to acquire for development. The condition on buying that property, the Jersey City JCRA, was it was to be for affordable housing. That's why they bought it. And that the only way it could be sold was if there was a resolution allowing it to be sold. There was no resolution that was ever made to allow it to be sold. But yet again, the city transferred that property. The Jersey City Redevelopment Agency has now sold the property to the city for commercial development. This is what the problem is. There's so much stuff going on behind, I don't know, behind the scenes, but that is just not kosher. I don't know I don't have any other words for it. And it's really sad. And that's another thing which brings me back to that 50 Journal Square. There's pictures and renderings from 2021 that shows that alleyway as an expanse. So has known about this since 2021. The city has known about it because I found renderings. And why is this coming up now? Such kind of surprise. It's not a park. It's for the Lowe's Theater.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
Next, 5.14, Daniela. 5.14. Daniela. Next, 5.15, Genovia. It's got to be the person.
To be the person.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Genovia Chase, and I'm here in support of the House Ballroom community and the Venus Extravaganza pedagogy. I discovered the House Ballroom community in 2006, where one of the early stories that I learned, histories I learned, was about Venus Extravaganza. Unfortunately, the history that I learned about her was the fatality of her death. Growing up, I wound up discovering my own truth and started to navigate the world as a Black trans woman, and I started to understand that many of my sisters would die at the helms of people that were just unsure about who we are, just didn't really have love and compassion for our existence. And so I'm here today to represent and to make sure that I'm here speaking on behalf of people in my community that are hopeless, that don't have anyone to kind of confide in, but ultimately has families that are looking over their shoulders to look back and make sure that their lives and legacies are sustained in some type of special way. And after meeting the Pelagagi family, this is something that's been very significant. I think that ultimately, I just really want to say that I'm here in support of my community, and I really want to make sure that brown and light and brown and Black trans women around the world have a space of hope and compassion. This project would be the first landmark for the House Ballroom community, a community that you all have heard a bit about tonight. And I want to just assure that we here collectively are showcasing that as chosen family, we are here showing up for each other and devoting our compassions to make sure that this world is a better place for us and the people that we raise. I am the mother of the exclusive House of Lanvin. I'm legendary in the House Ballroom community, and a lot of the work and responsibilities for myself is to make this world a better place for those individuals, and ultimately to make the world a better place for myself as a Black trans woman. The Venus Extravaganza's legacy is one that is true to the world. And I think that when I walked in here today, I seen a flag out front, and it was a rainbow flag, and that did indicate some type of hope for me. So my hope is for you all, is that you all understand and hear the many stories of Venus Extravaganza, understand the dualities of her experience, and understand how vital it is for this milestone to exist, and for the communities to understand that LGBTQ individuals do have a place here in Newark, New Jersey. So
Thank
sorry,
you.
Jersey, just saying my apologies.
Thank you.
You better get that right.
Next speaker, 5.16, Dwayne. See Dwayne.
Genovia, I'm glad you got that right. I was having chest pain when you said North.
Next, 5.17, Tara. No. Next, 5.18, Giselle.
Hi, council members. My name is Giselle Extravaganza. I am the mother of the House of Extravaganza. I just want to say how important this day is for us, for my community, for my people, for my world, for our survival, for our existence. We desperately need this support and this to become a landmark to recognize our trans woman who was Venus Extravaganza, who represents our entire community. we desperately need the support and to show the world that we have people that support us and care about us and that we mean something and that we do have someone who supports us. So I would really, really want everyone to really understand how important this is to me, to Venus's family, to the House of Extravaganza, and to our entire LGBT community. I just wanted to say that, and that's all I can say. And we would love your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker, 5.19, Kevin.
Evening. Tonight, I need to address what the Jersey City Corporation Council said at the May 24th council meeting. I'll point out the issue and I will offer a sincere solution. The essence of what he said is with regard to our rent control dispute, and it can be summarized by this direct quote from Mr. Baker. The city is not a party to any of these claims. This is the tenants versus the landlord. Unfortunately, this statement is disconnected from the reality we have all experienced together for these many months. Here is a small sample which indicates the culpability of the city and why the city is a party to this dispute. In 2020, the city put forward a determination that 155 Washington Street was subject to rent control based on the fact that the original owner never filed a claim of exemption. We understand we were not supposed to find that, but we did. Next, Dinah Hendes sent emails to multiple tenants in May of 2022 stating that 100 Warren is also subject to rent control. After she sent these emails, she told tenants that there was no filing and the new owners cannot now file. She then instructed us to file petitions because that would allow her to take immediate enforcement action. The city, provably and in writing, knows these buildings are subject to rent control, yet they have allowed the continuous and uninterrupted collection of illegal rent. The city allowed this while sharing in the profit of the illegal rent collection via a profit share agreement with our landlord, of which I have a signed copy, to the tune of $2 million per year, making them a direct party to the illegal rent collection. The Department of Justice has put forward an antitrust probe related to the price-fixing software RealPage, but for the non-enforcement of the city ordinance, which is expressly required and is defined as the duty of every mayor in the state of New Jersey by statute, we would not be subject to this illegal rent. I can understand why Mr. Baker would very much like for the city not to be a party to this very illegal activity. The good news is we would also like that to be the case. In the end, plausible deniability is likely the only way out. Because of the evidence we have collected, there is really only one path that would allow such a defense, and that is for the Rent Leveling Board to enforce the ordinance. If they do that, I will freely admit it would be difficult for us to fight the city because if they enforce the ordinance before the administrative process runs out, they can claim plausible deniability for everything else we have discovered. This enforcement needs to happen independent of any negotiation or mediation we may have with our landlord. If the Rent Leveling Board enforces the ordinance, we will not come after the city related to this matter. So in reality, the ball is in your court, Mr. Baker and Mayor Fulop. Your fate is tied to ours, and it will depend solely on whether the Rent Leveling Board enforces the ordinance or not. Thank you so much.
Next speaker, 5.20, Barbara.
Goldberger, President, Woodside Towers. As you can hear, I don't have much of a voice left. The little bit that I do have, I would like to use to remind you of the job you promised voters would do in exchange for their support. You promised to uphold the laws of this city. Please enforce rent control ordinance 260. No filing, no exemption. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Next speaker, 5.21, Anna.
Hi, I'm Anna Davies, and I know that I've stood before you before. I want to say thank you for listening to us, and I also want to say thank you for passing the ordinance for right to counsel. And I want to say that rent control truly is life-changing. My building is under rent control now, under the 100 Warren Street. And it's crazy that the building connected 155 Washington, the rents are $1,000, $2,000 a month more. But for me, being able to make a plan for my family, being able to know that we can budget up to 3.9, whatever, 4% per year, it really does change lives and is just so, so important. I think there's a misconception that this is sort of a downtown high-rise issue, but it really is a citizens of Jersey City issue. So I just thank you for continuing to listen, and please continue to listen to all my neighbors and my daughter, who is the next speaker.
Okay. Our next speaker, 5.22, Lucy.
Hi, my name is Lucy Davies. I'm 8 years old and I lived in Jersey City for my whole life. And I want the mayor to listen to what we say and not just ignore us. We want the mayor to read and follow the rules. If you can promise me to tell the mayor to stop, do it as many times.
Great job.
Thank you, Lucy.
Great job, Lucy. Public speaking's not easy. Next, 5.23, Sylvia.
Dear council members, as you may already be aware now, portside renters, such as myself, have been charged illegal rent increases for many years. It is now at such levels that close to 50% of our household revenue goes to our landlord. And we know we are far from being the only ones in Jersey City. Just as a reminder, it is recommended to only spend between 25 to 30% of your income on housing. It is hard to understand how this is made possible. I mean, there are laws, there are well-described exemption processes, and there are records. But unfortunately, renters of Jersey City are most often left alone to deal with whatever landlords decide to do, regardless of any legislation. What does that say about our community? That once again, the wealthier is free to do whatever they want to. Billionaire companies such as Equity, who owns most of the waterfront in Powder's Hook, have legal teams ready to fight anything that comes their way. Renters like us, who already struggle to pay the rent and the basic necessities do not have any budget left for any legal advice. Equity knows that so well. They have been ignoring the law for the past 20 years. And for the past 20 years, thousands of renters have been stolen millions of dollars in rent because no one cared enough to hold the company accountable for its unlawful activities. So whether we talk about rent control or right to counsel, like last week, this is the same issue and the same solution. We need to give back to the renters a minimum of rights and tools so they can stop being exploited and stolen from big landlords and billionaire companies. And this will not happen without our representatives stepping up for us. We are not blind. We know that Equity and other developers are also extremely generous when it comes to fund political campaigns. They will pay for you, so you side with them later. But here's my question for you. Why are you elected? Why do you go to work every day? To help a couple of billionaire corporates getting richer, or to help 70% of your residents keep a decent place to live? Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.24, Peter.
Good evening, members of the council. I'd like to begin by thanking all of you for your recent measures you have taken towards ensuring that many Jersey City residents are legally equipped to respond to abusive behavior from their landlords. I'm certain that your response has given heart to many tenants who had previously considered their situations to be hopeless. I'm sure that you have faced pressure and backlash from other interests and that there will be more obstacles and difficulties along the way, but please know that you have the gratitude of thousands. On a related note, I am here tonight to speak on behalf of the residents of 100 Montgomery Street. I've heard many stories from the building's residents, many of them seniors and individuals to whom English is a second language, that suggest a clear pattern of willful negligence from the property owner. The photographs I have recently viewed go far beyond suggestion. Bathrooms festering with black mold, stained, waterlogged walls that ripple and move at all hours of the day and night, oxidized piping that crumbles at the touch. Residents have indicated that any, quote, repairs generally consist of quick fixes such as plastering over leaks that do not address the serious underlying issues. I'm not as well read on the law as many of the other members of the community that you have heard tonight and at previous meetings, but I am certain that there are city and state regulations that prohibit owners from allowing these types of unsanitary and downright hazardous conditions. An independent building inspection seems like a good place to start. The term slumlord is not generally applied to owners of high-rise apartment buildings, but it certainly seems to fit in this context. Amidst all of this, the residents have expressed a serious and seemingly accurate concern that the owner has been subjecting them to illegal rent increases. This building originally consisted of 100% affordable housing units until it was sold late last year. The new owner agreed to extend affordability control on 163 units as part of the lot line agreement. The city's business administrator has confirmed that there is in fact a tax abatement and therefore these units should be subject to rent control. In spite of this, the residents still have not received an answer as to who is responsible for enforcing the owner's behavior in this situation and what legal recourse might be available to them. We ask the members of the City Council to give this issue the swift attention it deserves and to pursue justice on behalf of the residents of 100 Montgomery. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, 5.25, Judith.
Hello. Judith Fury Rogers, 100 Montgomery, apartment 3A. To my knowledge, you need a building permit to do construction in New Jersey. 100 Montgomery did an intensive renovation to approximately 70 units from last year to present. There are no visible permits for removal of existing material, installation of new fixtures, rewire and major electrical work, and major plumbing. There are no fire or building inspections on new units, permits displayed. I have proof. Who is approving this work? Who is checking DOH and OSHA requirements? Do they know? Why does this matter to me? The apartment 3C next to me is totally gutted. I live in 3A. It has been gutted. Quick, quiet, they have a system. The workers use 2 of the tenant grocery carts and fill the carts with garbage debris. The problem is the debris is filled with mold and mildew, wet walls, installation, and rusted pipes. The tenants use the same carts to carry groceries. Is there asbestos? Asbestos is found in homes built prior to 1978, 100 Montgomery. Who is checking to ensure there is no asbestos in the textured ceilings, tile glue, and the pipe installation? Do they have a certificate of occupancy for the new units? Are the new units fireproof? The rent roll from 2021 had most apartments filled. Why? Who is funding this work? Is there a government contract for the affordable housing that they're using to make money? Is the money designated for the tenants in the apartments? Does 100 Montgomery's insurance company know that they're renovating major work without permits? 3 minutes is not enough. I'd like to also mention the 9% rent increase that I have received has not been addressed. The New Jersey law states 4%. The tenants are waiting for a solution.
Thank you.
Next speaker, 5.26, Suzanne.
Good evening, Council. I want to start by extending my sincere gratitude to Madam President for her assistance concerning the tenants of 100 Montgomery. We are on a collaborative journey that promises to make a substantial difference, and this could potentially be one of the most significant outcomes resulting from these many months of public addresses. So thank you. Your unwavering support is crucial as we continue our struggle against landlords who are adept at ticking boxes to superficially address serious issues, just to exhaust everyone who tries to help. We've shown our resilience, our determination not to capitulate. As we anticipate your stamina matching ours until our illegal rent is thoroughly resolved, we pledge to stand with you in your endeavors to assist others in need. This evening, I'm here to present yet another case that showcases the urgency and significance of your assistance. I would like you to meet Miss Jolanta Campbell. Jolanta emigrated from Poland and has lived in 100 Montgomery since 2008 when the building was 100% affordable housing. I had the pleasure of meeting with Jolanta this past weekend in her home. Besides being overcharged in rent, Jolanta has had ongoing maintenance issues that have never been resolved by the landlord or the city. They include AC that has not worked properly since 2008, which has caused extremely high humidity, high temperature, mold, and illness. Pipes are not insulated around the AC unit, leading to high condensation and bad air quality. Pipes in the walls have been leaking water, which has caused much damage to her apartment. And the upstairs apartment has been leaking water into her unit from the ceiling. As a result, she has had severe illness from the mold and high moisture temperature. She does not use the heat in the winter because she is worried about the air quality. She also slipped into 2021 from the water damage and had bleeding in her brain. Jolanta has repeatedly asked that these issues be permanently repaired, and she has been met with management who is hostile and disrespectful and who has outright lied to her. In fact, yesterday, maintenance workers came to her apartment where they found water. The senior property manager wrote her an email saying that there was no evidence of water. Maintenance was in her apartment for 4 hours. We have videos of water and water damage. She has asked the maintenance manager if he can also fix her AC unit, and he said, "I don't want to hear about that. I don't have $1 million." He said to ask the landlord, but he didn't want to tell her who the landlord is. Management also refuses to put in a new AC system in her unit, in which they are only doing so in market rate apartments. She is on a fixed income that satisfies the income requirements for an affordable housing unit in which her rent should not exceed 30% of her income. Since before 2016, she has been overcharged in rent. Neither management nor the housing authority has rectified this nor given any proof of reason for the overcharge in rent. And per Article 3.03 in the lot line agreement, this is illegal. Unfortunately, there are many tenants who are suffering like Jolanta in 100 Montgomery. And I don't have time to finish, but we really need active help, as you can see with my speech and who we just heard from. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.27, Manya. Make sure the mic is by. Thank you, Kevin.
Good evening, Monia Ridgeboim, 100 Montgomery. You see, everyone touches this building. But I came just to say a few words. First of all, thank you, all these people from Portside. I'm very proud to know them, educated, articulated, ability to describe the problem. Another part of this problem, it's Trump said he will drain the swamp in Washington. I'm asking who will drain swamp here in Georgia City? Not my councilman. About him, I can write a novel. ability to hang spaghetti on the people's brain. I gave him a letter which was signed by two people, myself and previous president of our community. Why he didn't respond? He lost it. He didn't say sorry. Another question. I deeply appreciate, Ms. Waterman, for your email. You raised two most important questions. How to solve the inappropriate rent increase, and second question, the racism in our building. Regarding first question, you made very nice suggestion. Set up a meeting, landlord, tenant, and management. It's very, very important, but we have to keep in mind that it will be very different, but even for these people to set up such meeting, I'm asking to help us. Already involved in this problem. Next question, it's regarding. Next question regarding upcoming holiday. I congratulate you. In a few days, independent days, I have to say, long life America. Only in these circumstances I can stay here and talk in this way. And it's not impossible to do in Soviet Union and current Russia. I appreciate for this opportunity. I deeply respect your work. Thank you.
Next speaker, 5.28, Alexander.
Sorry. Got one voice. My name is Alexander. I'm also living in 100 Montgomery, apartment 3B. So as my neighbors, and I live in that building since 2002. Since 2002, I see a lot of changes. I don't know why it's a new management, new owners, but the building get worse. Even on myself, I get very struggles since the building was sold out in 2014. My rent has increased $1,000 and $300 for three shots actually. And about management, I want to mention management or owners. Since 2014, I have a lot of documents, evidence, pictures, as they mentioned about the leaking, air condition problems. And, you know, it's very difficult to get deal to fix anything. I can like showing the picture since 2015, 16, 19, how was the apartment looks like. I was doing fixing on my own. You know, even I had to go through Mr. Solomon office, right? I had to go through the inspector from you guys. I don't know where exactly to come over to seeing it because I got refused for management to fix it since 2019. Okay, very hard to get new refrigerator, very hard to get new oven, which one is rusted apart. You know, you cannot even clean it. I have a little daughter, 7 years old, you know, and we have leak every single day. Last year, they start fixing it. And I was suggesting, guys, you have to fix the right way. No matter what you do now, it's not going to help because the still put it the recondition on will be the same problem. Guess what? Sunday, again, they fixing it on February. All walls on 3 rooms, fixing it. Sunday, again, all leaking. It's coming from the 9th floors all the way down to the 2nd floor, right? And everything is bubble. I come downstairs, I say, guys, whatever who's in charge, who's supposed to be here to go back and forth to see which leak is come from? Nothing. Monday, coming Monday to see, oh, we heard about the leak. I say, yes, welcome, look at this. All your job, guys, is done. And water go under the floor. Since 2019, I'm mentioning this. You know what I got asking for? Oh, you guys, your own floor. We're not responsible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, 5.29, Mel.
Hi there. I'm Mel Wilson, a resident at Portside Towers. I've spoken many times before, so I have a short list that I just want to run over again, just so we don't forget. This list is what I would like to see Jersey City openly and actively supporting in solidarity with its residents, who, as we know, are primarily tenants. So the bill in Trenton that is trying to be passed, denying public access to records, is an interesting one. Hoboken has come out with in opposition of this. What are we trying to hide by limiting access to public records at this point in time? I'd love to see Jersey City also actively opposing that. Public figure comments censorship. We've talked about Mayor Phillip's social media accounts before, where comments are removed if they're not positive. Why can they not defend themselves openly if they don't like the comments? What is their response rather than just eliminating them? We'd love to have a rent leveling board in Jersey City that can confidently make rulings according to its laws. We've seen it happen in Union City and in Hoboken. We're still waiting here in Jersey City. We'd love to see we'd love to see the city proactively call out landlords and leaseholders who flout their responsibilities. How is it that Portside is able to continue to operate without required personnel such as security and fire wardens? This literally is putting people's lives in danger, and there apparently is nobody for them to answer to in the city when we bring these examples up. So lastly, we know we want to have 260 enforced. We want an end to ridiculous rent hikes. We want to stay in this diverse community and not be forced out of our homes through the ridiculous expenses being forced upon us. Very proud to be part of this diverse community. And to that end, I'd like to add my support to the House of Extravaganza behind me. Please do make Venus's childhood home an official landmark. This entire community needs and deserves that recognition and representation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, 5.30, Jessica. Not here. Thank you. 5.31, Sonia.
Good evening, Council. I'm Sonia Kirschner. My friends from Portside and all over Jersey City have been trying to get the city's help over 1 year now. Let me tell you a little story related to this. Today, I listened to the daily podcast by the New York Times. This episode was about ChatGPT and its potential use for cheating in American schools. It included interviews with students and Andrew Reeves, a history professor at Middle Georgia State. In the beginning, one of the students said about his first experience with the technology, "This is real, right? This isn't a prank." It felt so otherworldly, like I was watching a movie that was based in the 3000s. Things that we could not imagine before we witnessed them are often scary, like our situation. What scared me most today is the statement the professor made when he told the story of finding out that an essay was written by ChatGPT and not by his student. I don't endorse ChatGPT, but I understand why a student who is taking World History 1 in order to get their social science elective. But if you are majoring in history, you should be interested enough in this that you can sit down and write 600 words in about 2 weeks or so. The statement struck me in relation to our situation. I thought of it because you are elected officials and you should be interested and you should care enough about justice for 72% renters in Jersey City, about enforcing existing laws, about, and we just heard it, the safety, health, and well-being of the people of your city. I thought that something had changed by now, but very sadly, that's not the case. After over 1 year of us fighting, 72% renters in Jersey City are still at the mercy of greedy landlords who can do whatever they want, supported by our mayor and the city administration. Ordinance 260 is still not enforced. And at Portside, we often come home in the middle of the night, all doors wide open, no doorman inside, just to give you one example. You know why this is happening? Because our landlord Equity Residential knows exactly that no one cares if they follow the law or not, that no one cares if they keep filling their pockets, and that no one cares if people suffer, as we just heard it. This is where we are today. Sadly, I'm with the professor. The only difference is ChatGPT is new, the laws of our city are not. And that he was appealing to students who are still learning, and we are appealing to elected officials. To me, that is utterly scary.
Next speaker, 5.32, Danila.
Good evening, Council. As you just heard, we are in a new round of rent increases. Equity at Portside increases consistently 10% in the East Tower. 10% doesn't sound like much compared to what it was before, but it is. In fact, it is 300% more than what is legally allowed according to the current CPI. More than 300% above the legal limit. And also without any consideration of type of apartment and current rent. If one pays already 5K for a 2-bedroom after receiving 40% last year, well, now it's 5.5K for that same 2-bedroom. And the rent leveling administrator is still ignoring our petitions, is still not committing to a ruling. And the mayor is joining proudly a press conference touting how fantastic right to counsel will be. A law he never actively pushed or at least supported. Nothing. But now that he couldn't avoid it, he is very proud and is censoring our comments under the post where he is so proud. And we keep hearing that RTC will help renters who face illegal rent increases. How is that so? Why do we need RTC in such cases? RTC helps in case of illegal evictions, not illegal rents. It should never come to an eviction due to an illegal rent increase. Think about it. If one says RTC helps in case of illegal rents, that not only assumes illegal rents are possible in Jersey City, but that the greedy landlord can evict on top of it when the tenants can't pay the illegal rent. How absurd is that? That's what Ordinance 260 is there for. That's what the Rent Leveling Board and the concept of petitions against illegal rents are there for. Or did I miss anything? When tenants get hit by an increase of 300% above legal limits, they have two choices: move and disrupt their whole life, or stay and try to swing it. If this doesn't work out, they face eviction. If we had Ordinance 260 enforced and rent control properly applied, we would have much less cases of evictions. And you know what's so great about 260? It's there. You just need to act now. It's active law. No one needs to rack their brains about how to do it, when to do it, who is eligible, nothing of this. You can just execute the ordinance. Isn't that something? Enforce 260. No filing, no exemption. Thank you.
Next, 5.33, Lola. Not here, thank you. Next, 5.34, Elena.
Good evening. My name is Elena Little, but I am using my time tonight to read a letter from Jessica Rasulo, a Portside Towers tenant who is registered as speaker 5.30 and could not attend in person tonight to read it herself. Dear Mayor Phillip, I start this letter from a place of naivety and shame. We came of age in neighboring towns with similar backgrounds. We share many life experiences. I felt represented when you ran for office, and I truly thought we had found a leader in you. I was wrong. For years, I filtered everything I heard about you to reflect only the brightest of light. I ignored story after story of your corruption and deceit. I was wrong. I have lived in Jersey City for almost 10 years. I've chosen to make Jersey City my home for my family. For many reasons, I, along with 72% of Jersey City residents, rent my home. For years, my neighbors and I naively accepted 5, 10, 12% rent increases year after year, thinking there was nothing we can do. Then our landlord introduced the recurring 30% rent increases, and we organized, researched, and asked questions. We started simple. New Jersey law says a landlord cannot make you pay an increase in rent that is so large that it is unconscionable. I'd be hard-pressed to find a legal mind who would say that 30% is conscionable while our economy runs at a CPI of 4.9% max. Mayor Phillip, we genuinely thought it was simple. Protect your constituents from unconscionable rent increases as per the law. But the law is vague, and apparently your donors are way more specific. 35%, 40%, 50% increases followed. Now we weren't just angry, we were afraid for our homes, and we were activated. It took many hours, but not many months, for us to analyze Jersey City rent control laws. We found that the laws of our city are quite clear. There's a specific time frame and process for a landlord to file for an exemption from rent control. We found our landlord did not file for an exemption. We have written acknowledgement of this. We demand that you enforce the law as you are sworn to do. My neighbors and I have spent the last year educating your council on these laws. We have implored all elected and appointed officials to abide by the law. We have researched and proposed a way forward for everyone. We have been at every council meeting. We have sacrificed our time fighting for your constituents. Mayor Phillip, where are you? Where is your outrage, your action, or even your acknowledgement of the painful mistreatment of your constituents? Where are you? Your people are suffering. We are here fighting to make your community a better place without you. Where are you? We have worked tirelessly for over a year, naively believing in laws and government and that our elected officials would represent us. Mayor Phillip, stop hurting the people to benefit the large corporations who fund your election. We, the voters, will not forget. Follow the law, enforce rent control. No filing, no exemption.
Next speaker, 5.35, Amy. Is Amy here? No. Next speaker, 5.36, Shannon. Okay. And 5.37, Michelle.
Good evening. I'd like to begin by introducing a new word and a new phrase of the day: accuracy and plausible deniability. Accuracy means freedom from mistake or error, and plausible deniability is defined as anything illegal or unethical that can be explained away under an innocent and probable guise, true or otherwise. Given the recent legislative attempt to pass bills that are an attack on Oprah, I'd like to stress the importance of transparency and accuracy by our government officials. As we've learned with the rent control addendum in our leases, just because a document exists does not alone make it truthful or accurate. The same applies to the spoken word. Just because someone says so does not make it true. And just because someone says something that seemingly would absolve themselves, others, or an entity from what could be considered complicit, illegal, and/or unethical behavior, that does not create plausible deniability to be used as a shield from facts and the law. At the end of the May 24th City Council meeting, Mr. Baker of Corporation Counsel provided you an update regarding the Portsiders' appeals and their rent leveling board hearing date. He took that opportunity to get the following on the record, quote, "So the delays in this matter are not because of any dereliction on the part of any of the city's offices or the rent leveling board. Also remind the council again that in the 1980s, this city council created the rent leveling process to be a fair, unbiased process outside of the political sphere that would allow for transparent decisions on good faith disputes between parties on rent increases. I will remind everybody again that the city is not a party to any of these claims. This is the tenants versus the landlord. End quote. Earlier, Kevin detailed some of the evidence we have of the city's and the mayor's direct culpability related to our matter. I'll add that Portsiders can definitively prove the inaccuracy of Mr. Baker's words, specifically that there was not any kind of dereliction on the part of the city. My time is limited, but here's an example. Where are the determinations for the 2 illegal rent petitions that were submitted by my neighbors in February? An enforcement action at our next rent leveling board meeting gives the city a way out, and we would not take action against the city, although we're fully prepared to do so if we're forced to. It's my sincere hope that the city will enforce the ordinance at our next rent leveling board hearing, at which point I would look forward to standing shoulder to shoulder with it in defense of the law, just like we've seen in Union City, Hoboken, and Woodbridge. No filing, no exemption. Thank you.
Next speaker, 5.38, Jason. Just make sure the mic is up by you. There you go.
I want to speak about the waste charge, solid waste fee. As we know, it started off, it was removed from the tax, and we were being charged for it through our water bill. I think everyone here disagreed with that, and it was a complete debacle. Then it was changed to per unit. Now, I'm one person living in a 2-unit house, a legal 2-family house. So I've been charged twice, one person, for waste removal. I clarified this with Veolia, and they told me that it was a legal unit on the Mod 4 database. I spoke to my councilman, Councilman Solomon, and he told me that yes, other people are having this problem. So I imagine it's the same for every council person here, having the same issues. Sorry. So people are having to change the legal unit status of their house in order to lower their waste charges. It was only by chance that I discovered through Oprah that this isn't the case for Dixon Leasing. And I'm going to read you the email. So this is between Kevin Pringle, an accountant for Dixon Leasing, and Brittany Kelly, the MUA Communications Director, and I believe also Miss Prince Ari's council aide. Hello, as per our conversation, please see below properties owned by US Masters Residential Property Fund, that's Dixon's parent company, that have an incorrect unit charge for solid waste fee. We would like to request that your records be updated and a refund for these accounts be processed, as we were overcharged for 2021 and 2022. Brittany Kelly gets in touch with Dennis Enright, who is the architect of both laws, of both methods of charging for the waste fee. Given it's a professional manager, I would accept their representation of units. So there's a list of 25 properties that Dixon own with a discrepancy of 35 units, and they've been allowed to pay less than what I am paying without changing the legal unit status of their house. 286 5th Street is one door away from me. It's the same size lot. The house is worth much more. They are paying 1 unit for a legal 2-unit family house. I am paying double for the same. MUA is using 2 different sets of criteria. So I think this needs to be either codified. There's nowhere online that describes exactly how they're setting the units out.
Thank you.
And the MUA database needs to be public that they're using.
Next speaker, 5.39, Ken.
Hi, Council. My name is Ken Lapham, and I'm the current owner of the Venus Extravaganza house. When we bought the house in 1994, we did as much research as we could in those pre-Google days to try and ascertain if anyone important or significant had ever lived in the home, and came up empty. Even once Google became something we all know and love so much, it's still pretty hard to find references to the home, except in recent months when these nice gentlemen and people behind me have been working on getting this house landmarked. When we bought the house in '94, we did a substantial renovation, but luckily, unlike many renovations in Jersey City where everything's torn down to studs and left with new things replacing everything that was there, we did much more of a restoration. The floors that Venus walked on are still there. Walls that sheltered her are still there. The windows she looked out of and dreamed of a future which never came are still there. I encourage landmarking the house so that the time doesn't forget it again, and that other people can look out those same windows and fulfill their dreams. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, 5.40, Steve.
Good evening. So I was looking at Twitter this week and I saw that Mayor Fulop had posted a tweet about a resolution that was going to be passing tonight regarding Planned Parenthood and the funding of a program that has been going on in Jersey City, I believe, or is going to continue going on. I looked into it and the tweet didn't say anything about what I was trying to look into or find out. So I called Councilman Borgiano, who's not here. So I wanted to ask you all if you knew anything, if the services being provided will be supporting, funding, or educating or pushing women towards getting abortions. That's my only question. I don't support it. I just want to know if this is something that was not mentioned or if it is going to be part of the services being provided for some other reasons or people not to question about it. But I just want to know if you guys know if this is actually something that will be part of this program.
Jade, take his information so I can get back to him. My aide, give her your information and I'll reach out to you, okay? Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right there.
Okay, our next speaker, 5.41, Erica. Not here. Thank you, Councilman. And our last speaker, 5.42, Sharon. Sharon, not here. Okay. That concludes our public speaking portion of the meeting. Now we're going to go to our petitions and communications. Any questions or comments on items 6.1 through 6.30? Hearing none. Officer Communications 7.1 through 7.6. Any questions or comments? Our reported directors 8.1. Any questions or comments? Moving right along to our claims, our meeting claims and addendums number 1, number 2, and number 3. So council members are going to be taking a vote on meeting claims and addendums number 1, 2, and 3. Councilperson Ridley. Stepped away, sorry. Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman. Claims and addendums number 1, 2, and 3 are approved 7-0, with council members Ridley and Baggiano absent. On to our resolutions. Council members are going to be taking a vote on items 10.1 through 10.13. Again, that's 10.1 through 10.13. Councilperson Ridley is still away. Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
No on 10.1, aye on all the rest, and yeah, leave it at that.
10.1 no, and aye on all the rest, correct? Thank you. Councilperson Gilmore.
Vote no on 10.1, 10.2, and aye on the rest.
That's 10.1 and 10.2. And I on all the rest. Got it. Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
Council President Waterman. Okay, if I can just recap. Okay, so 10.1, before I take that vote, can I ask Councilperson, recap the vote? Ridley, your vote on items 10.1 through 10.13.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so item 10.1 is approved. 7.1 with Councilperson Solomon voting, excuse me, not 7.1. 6.2, I apologize. 6.2 with council members Solomon and Gilmore voting no and Councilperson Baggiano absent. Item 10.2 is approved. 7.1 with Councilperson Gilmore voting no and Councilperson Baggiano absent. And items 10.3 through 10.13 are approved 8-0 with Councilperson Baggiano absent. On to our next set of resolutions, items 10.14 through 10.23. Again, that's 10.14 through 10.23. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary. Councilperson Soleil.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman. Items 10.14 through 10.23 are approved 8-0 with Councilperson Baggiano absent. Before I move on to the balance of the resolutions, Councilperson Ridley, would you like to cast your vote on claims and addendums number 1, 2, and 3?
Aye.
Okay, just to recap that vote, claims and addendums number 1, 2, and 3 are approved 8-0. Councilperson Baggiano absent. As I said, to the balance of our resolutions, items 10.24 through 10.34. Again, that's items 10.24 through 10.34, the balance of the resos. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Soleil.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye, and on again 1033, I want to thank Mayor Fulop, the HHS department, council colleagues. Really important to expand our partnership with Planned Parenthood and provide, reproductive services to women in Jersey City. So I vote aye for all.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Okay, I just heard from the director, she said we are not paying for no abortions. That's what your concern, right? We're not paying for any. None. Okay, thank you. So with that, I vote aye.
Okay, items 10.24 through 10.34 are approved 8-0 with Councilperson Baggiano absent.
Motion to adjourn.
So I have a motion to adjourn at 8:32 p.m. by Councilperson Rivera and seconded by Councilperson Soleil. On the motion to adjourn at 8:32 p.m., Councilperson Ridley, Councilperson Prinzary, Councilperson Soleil,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon, Councilperson Gilmore, Councilperson DeGise,
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera, and Council President Waterman. Motion carries 8-0 with Councilperson Baggiano absent to adjourn at 8:32 p.m. Thank you very much, everyone who's present and everyone watching at home. Remember, teamwork makes the dream work.
And
Have a
Eid
great
Mubarak.
night and stay safe.
And Eid Mubarak, everybody. Thank you.
Mira, Councilwoman, we just need you 1 second.